Oklo stock has exploded over 900% in just 1 year. And here's the kicker. It hasn't generated a single watt of electricity. So what's driving this insane rally? In this video, I'll cover Oklo's revolutionary nuclear tech, its real-world government contracts, and why some investors believe it could be the next big play in the AI-powered energy race. But of course, I'll also look at the risks to the company, their cash burn, their delays, and the fact that its first reactor won't go live until 2028. Stick around to the end because by the end of this video, you'll have a better idea whether Oklo deserves a spot on your watch list or if it's just radioactive hype. Hi everyone, my name is Rick Orford and I've been trading since 1999. And I help investors like you cut through the hype to make smarter, more confident decisions with your money. And if you find this video useful and you're serious about growing your portfolio while avoiding costly mistakes, be sure to like and subscribe. It'll help others too, and you won't miss out on any future insights. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. And you all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by almost 6 times. Go to fool.com/Ricko to get your 10 stock picks right now. So who exactly is Oklo? Well, Oklo's a nuclear energy company based in Santa Clara, California. They were founded back in 2013 and went public in May of 2024 under the ticker Oklo. The company focuses on developing their Aurora powerhouses. They're compact, fast fission reactors that can create up to 15 megawatts of clean, reliable power. But what makes them special is that these reactors can run on recycled nuclear waste. Unlike traditional reactors that use water for cooling, Oklo's technology uses coolants like sodium or lead. And get this, despite being relatively new, analysts already rate the stock a consensus moderate buy. So you most likely know that nuclear energy has always been seen as a clean, cost-efficient powerhouse. But there's been one major headache, and that's nuclear waste. The spent fuel rods, for example, right? They are a nightmare, apparently, to dispose of. They sit in special containers in remote locations, and they're radioactive for decades. And here's the kicker. 95% of their energy goes completely unused. That is a huge waste. And this is where Oklo comes in. Oklo intends to source the used nuclear fuel from existing reactors so that they can continue to operate their advanced reactors for generations. And they say there's enough power to power the entire country for the next 150 years. And this brilliant approach has even caught the attention of the US Department of Energy, who's now given them special permission to access and recycle this type of nuclear fuel. All right, so let's talk numbers, right? Since Oklo is still pre-revenue, we need to look at this company a little bit differently than, say, a more mature company. They're still operating at a loss. Actually, their net loss, their annual net loss came in at $73 million. That's up 128% from last year. Sounds bad, right? Well, hang on a second. The company's cash position tells an entirely different story. They're sitting on about $90 million in cash and cash equivalents in Q1. It's down about 7% from last quarter, but compared to the same time last year, well, it's a massive improvement. But there is a catch. The company appears to be diluting shares to fund their operations. Outstanding shares jumped 222% compared to last year. In my opinion, that's something that investors like you will need to watch carefully. By the way, the data used in this video is powered by Bar Chart. It's one of my favorite tools that lets you find data on thousands of tickers and allows you to filter by price, volume, sector, and more, so you can find winning opportunities in seconds. I use it every day, and you can set up a free account by just scanning this QR code or click the link in the description. All right, so going back, Why has the stock gone absolutely parabolic? Well, for one, those new shares haven't scared investors away. Not even close. The stock surged 904% from its September 2024 low of $5.35 to where it is today at $53. And the timing couldn't be better. There's been a lot of push for nuclear technology over the last couple of years, like the Advance Act of 2023, which aimed to reduce both fees and processing times of regulatory requirements for their plants. And that's huge for a company like Oklo. But it gets even better. The Department of Defense just commissioned Oklo to deploy an Aurora powerhouse at its Air Force Base in Alaska. And we're talking about real government contracts here, right? And just recently, a series of executive orders aimed to speed up advanced nuclear technology adoption has come into place. These orders are reforming the NRC and streamlining commercial operations for advanced nuclear tech. Executive orders like these perfectly position Oklo for eventual profitability. And this is a question that comes up in my Discord channel quite often. The tech sounds promising, and Oklo has already been in business for more than 10 years. So how come there's no power plant up yet? Well, there's lots of risks to consider when it comes to nuclear power, like sourcing materials and legislation. So let's have a look a little bit closer. Despite all of this momentum, Oklo's got some major risks. The hard truth is that revenue probably won't become a reality until late of this decade, right? Sure, they're working on a flagship project, for example, in Idaho. But that nuclear power plant isn't going to come online until early 2028 at the earliest. There's also another major project in the works in southern Ohio, where they're also building Aurora power plants there. However, they are slated to be completed in 2028. Even the Air Force Base in Alaska is expected to be finished around the same time. Needless to say, you're gonna need a lot of patience if you plan to start a long-term position with Oklo. Now, let's talk about price targets. Analysts set a high target price of $75 for Oklo, which suggests as much as 35% upside from today's $53.72. However, the stock nearly reached that level in mid-June, hitting an all-time high of $73.55 before pulling back. And here's something wild. The company's market cap is nearly $7.5 billion. And remember, their first plants are still years away, and that's some serious speculation baked into this price, at least I think. Also, Oklo isn't alone in the market. Of course, there's a lot of upcoming startups like NuScale, which is developing its small nuclear reactors with various clients from all over the United States. And just like Oklo, the company is also targeting a late-decade deployment. Then you've got TerraPower, the company that Bill Gates founded. They just raised $650 million from NVIDIA and Hyundai. It's not a public company yet, but definitely something investors will want to keep their eyes on. And don't forget about X Energy. Congress just handed them $1.1 billion through the Advanced Reactor Demonstration Program for their XE100 high-temperature gas-cooled reactor. Their Washington plant should be online by decade's end too. So who is this stock for? Well, if you're a speculative investor who can handle volatility, then the SMR space could be an intriguing prospect. But with plants not opening until late this decade, Oklo's hype is way ahead of its fundamentals. Those recent executive orders have pumped up the stock for sure, but with the shares already up 150% this year alone, you might want to wait for a little bit for things to cool off a bit. That kind of volatility in price action is just not for me. So all in all, I think it's best to keep this stock on your watch list. It'll probably be a solid player in the data center market eventually, essentially an indirect AI investment move. So be sure to watch out for major announcements as they approach the commissioning of their first plant. And that's what I've got for you today for Oklo. The company appears to be onto something interesting, solving problems while building advanced nuclear reactors. by reutilizing fuel rods from decommissioned reactors. But what do you think? Are you buying into Oklo's vision, or are you buying or selling the stock? And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more analysis if you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.